Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our brand new series on the channel here, the NASCAR MyCareer series. Now as we take on race 2 of the 2003 season as NASCAR sees a new track here in the Winston Cup schedule, Iowa Speedway. Now is fresh off of, well, a heartbreaking ending to a Daytona 500, we suddenly found ourselves leading, coming to the final lap until the caution came out, and instead it was Ricky Craven that picked up the win, and that tied number 32 Pontiac in overtime in the first NASCAR Winston Cup Series overtime. Lots of changes over the offseason to the rules and formats and whatnot, but I mean overall it's made this Winston Cup Series a lot more exciting, and it is going to be an exciting season on the way. Now 36 races to crown a champion, and we already know going into the future we'll see a 10 race chase in 2004. I can tell you right now there will never be a playoff format of elimination style, but we will definitely embrace the 10 race chase format. As for myself, we ended up still having a subpar result in the top 25, and now we come into Iowa and we're kind of going to get a bit of a reality check at this point now, because Wood Brothers Racing, like I said previous, it's a 4-star team. It's not a great team, so we're going to struggle a little bit in terms of performance, but that's kind of what a rookie season back in the day a lot of the time was about, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. Overall, pretty happy with the car in practice, and as we come through into qualifying as well, you guys have been getting the Go and Pit Crew membership to become part of the lore in this career mode. Big thank you to you guys that want to be a part of the lore as you make yourself Pit Crew members. So next episode, as I'm finalizing the spreadsheets as we speak, basically, next episode here for race 3, I'm going to be showcasing you guys in the video and also in a members post where you guys are for this season, and yeah, I'm going to be really excited to kind of see how it plays out for you guys now as we qualify 25th with a 23.629. So yeah, overall kind of where I felt like about where we're going to be, and we got a few rookies around us here of Greg Biffle as well as Jamie McMurray, but as we look forward now, and up front it's Matt Kenseth again on pole over Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. So a few Hendrick drivers there in P2 and P3, Ryan Newman, Dale Jr. in the top 5, but Matt Kenseth's taken the first 2 poles of this 2003 season. As you see the rest of your qualifying order, Steve Park down there, Michael Waltrip as well, all the way at the bottom, Jeff Green, Ken Schrader there in P39 as it's time to go racing.
On the blacktop heat, 100,000 screaming on their feet. Feel the thunder shake the ground below. Green flags waving, time to let it go. Hey, we're going pedal down. Hey, the fastest wheels in town, chasing glory, claim the checkered crown.
Here we are then, now ready to take the green flag under the lights from Iowa Speedway now, as Matt Kenseth looking to be dominant this weekend. Can he carry that speed, however, into the race? You see the number 29 Richard Childress driver, Kevin Harvick. He is actually sent to the back of the field here. He had failed technical inspection, so Kevin Harvick's going to have to rally his way forward from the back to, well, as far as that number 29 Good Wrench Chevrolet can go. But that number 17 Matt Kenseth, watch out tonight, because he is looking pretty speedy so far. Of course, qualified on the pole now as we line up alongside fellow Rookie of the Year competitor of Greg Biffle, another rookie. I mean, all the rookies are right here. Casey Mears in the 41, Tony Raines right in front of us, and the green flag is out. Race number 2 is underway. Kenseth and Gordon lead the field into turn number 1. Harvick at the back. Can he come forward throughout this race now, as Rusty Wallace immediately says, hello rookies, this is how it's done into turn 1, 3 wide up the inside, and Rusty Wallace is through, gaining a few positions in just the opening corners now, as myself as well, 3 wide on the top entering turn 3. Look at in front of us, you're seeing lots of multi-groove racing here in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series debut here at Iowa Speedway now. And, well, one of the drivers you want to look out for is Dave Blaney. Now, a bit of a home track weekend for Blaney, and that number 77 as we clear the 32. And just like that, I'm ripping the top, moving up into P23 as well, getting past Elliott Sadler, as we've already got a change for the lead now. Into P1 goes the number 48, Jimmy Johnson. Kenseth, who has apparently been dominant all weekend, drops down into the second position. Jeff Gordon's gone backwards in the start of this race as well. Not been a good launch off the grid for that number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. Jeff Gordon looking for his fifth now NASCAR title, which would put him into some really elite company and real close to Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty's 7 championships now, as we are starting to kind of struggle a little bit here after just 5 laps, kind of really pushing up off the corner, and that allowed the 38 of Sadler to go by. And here comes Dave Blaney a corner later here up my inside as we exit turn 4. Just 98 laps of racing here from Iowa, so it's of course should be pretty straightforward, but we saw in Daytona all it takes is one caution to completely change the complexion of this race, and we of course ended up in a fuel mileage race right at the end, and it was quite dramatic how that race came to a close. There you see Jeremy Mayfield up my inside making the pass now, and now we're kind of entering struggle city here as Greg Biffle is going to go to my inside. So right off the bat, definitely looking for some adjustments to loosen up this car, as we've got some smoke up in front of us. Hold on, we got problems down this back straightaway. It looks like, I believe that's the 40 of Sterling Marlin there in the Coors Light Dodge. Contact with the 43, chaos into turn 3. Biffle's involved, the 40's around, crash into turn 3, no caution, we stay green. Marlin's off the racetrack. NASCAR keeps the green flag out. Everybody coming together. That was 4 or 5 cars, and Marlin never made it to the pits, so a lap later he's still on the racetrack in the way, but we stay green nonetheless, as Mayfield and the rest of the field this time are fortunate enough to get around that number 40, and fortunately Marlin would get to the pits next time around. But goodness gracious, how in the world is that not a caution? I don't know, but I mean, that seems to be a thing in NASCAR Heat 5 in Iowa. There's always a trend there. Richmond's another one, which can get pretty wild for no caution calls and engine issues, but we focus back in, and I mean, we've benefited from this. I mean, we gained track position, and the guys behind us kind of lost ground to us. And how about the defending champion, Tony Stewart, not having a great night so far, as we look up the inside of the number 20 Home Depot car, and for Joe Gibbs Racing, of course, now trying to pass him into turn number 1. You got the 38 there of Elliott Sadler. We'll clear the Chevrolet and the Ford now, and then move ourselves up into P21 as Stewart was continuing to go in the wrong direction. Now Jimmy Johnson, he's still leading the way here after 14 laps complete here. Now coming to lap 15 at this point as we're trying to run down the Hendrick number 25 there of Joe Nemechek. Casey Mears putting together a very strong effort here. As well, I had some comments asking me in Daytona, are the silly seasons going to follow real life, or are we going to put our own twist on it? It's going to be a mix of both. Some moments are going to reflect what happened in real life, and then there's going to be some moments that are very much so just on the fictional side of things. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna notice, like, say Jeff Gordon would retire at the end of 2015, like that's gonna happen probably here in the career mode, stuff like that, and kind of big moments. Denny Hamlin's still gonna come into this career mode. He'll drive the number 11 to start, and who's to say though, he might end up going to a different team in the future. You never really know. But there is going to be some fictional changes as their Daytona 500 champion catches the outside wall. Ricky Craven brings out caution number 1 as Jimmy Johnson, Robbie Gordon, Terry Labonte all in the top 3 there. Kenseth has dropped down to P4 as we're all going to pit here for 4 tires and fuel. Our number 21 team actually gains us a spot in the pits, fortunately, there. So a very strong effort in the pit lane now as we'll restart behind the 77 of Dave Blaney. We are underway here now, lap 22 of 98. A few rows up, Jeff Gordon. Terrible first run for that number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. Now, how about Casey Mears? 3 wide. He must have learned that, of course, from Rusty Wallace on the opening start now. He gets himself right up there into the mid-teens running order, as now we are unfortunately on the outside going backwards now. The 38 comes through, and as well, I did make some adjustments in the pits there to loosen up the car just a little bit. Nothing dramatic, but just enough to kind of hopefully free it up a little bit here now, as we've still got 76 laps to go in this race. Greg Biffle to my inside, Jamie McMurray as well now looking to my left rear. So watch out for that number 42 now, as we will be paying close attention to the Rookie of the Year battle. These are guys that, of course, we know we're going to be around throughout this career mode. You know, Biffle and McMurray and Mears. So this is a pretty fascinating rookie class that we've kind of got ourselves up against now, as through goes the 88 as well of Dale Jarrett, the 25 of Nemechek ripping the top. Kevin Harvick, where'd you come from? Harvick from the back now into the top 20 or so, as he was very quickly moving forward now, as we are trying to just kind of stop the bleeding, because there went Jack Sprague past me, and we are continuing to struggle. We've just not been able to get down to the bottom, and we've dropped all the way to 28th behind Waltrip and Tony Stewart, and eventually I get back down to the inside. We stopped the bleeding, and we have now gotten back to Greg Biffle, but now you can see he jumps down to the inside. He's going to start making some headway back forward, as well as Jimmy Johnson continues in these opening laps to just kind of be in complete control in that Lowe's number 48 now, as we are still battling with this Granger number 16 of Greg Biffle. We would eventually clear him, and now to the inside of the M&M's Ford number 38 there of Elliott Sadler, as we roll through 3, looking behind the 43 of John Andretti's up here into the mix as well, but we clear those guys, and then briefly after that the 43 actually gets up my inside, and he's able to pass me. So actually Greg Biffle just wrecked himself. Biffle just sent it into turn 3 out of nowhere. Cautions out after contact between myself and fellow rookie of Greg Biffle, and no one appears to be pitting, and we're going to get an immediate look at that. No, we do have Dave Blaney, I think it is, coming in, but we're going to have to take a second look at that, because I don't think I did anything wrong there. Biffle just kind of sent it in, waiting. Look at that. The 16 just sent it in so late, and I was already committed to the bottom. I don't see any blame in that situation on myself. Now, I was a little bit worried about that as we would get back underway. I was kind of thinking, like, was that my fault or not? Did I come down on him? I mean, you guys, of course, can let me know down below in the comments, but I don't think I did anything wrong, to be completely honest, as what a restart, though. 3 wide to the top around the 20 of Tony Stewart. Thank you very much. Into P21 we go, and we now get right down to the inside as soon as I can to pass that 41 of Casey Mears. We're behind the 19th place of John Andretti there in that number 43 Cheerios Dodge now, and he's getting aggressive. We're seeing a lot of 3 wide moves up the inside here now, as we've finally got a new leader, by the way. Ryan Newman for Penske Racing, and the number 12 is now in control as Tony Stewart's coming back at me. Stewart's kind of starting to make a bit of a comeback here now as this race continues on, and we're just a little bit shy of halfway at this point here from Iowa, but now back to the top, and we start going backwards again. There goes Nemechek to the inside now, as I'm just trying to, you know, commit to this inside lane, but it's hard now as we're going to pass this 23 of Kenny Wallace, and then as well briefly get to the inside of the 15, and very easy to clear that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet as well, and we enter now the top half of the field. But it was pretty short-lived, because then Waltrip actually going to come back at me here through 1 and 2. He'll pass me, and we just continue kind of in this dogfight here in the basically 20th to 25th range, and it's just a back and forth here. It feels like every lap, as we've got another new leader, and the number 9 of Bill Elliott out in front here now, as he looks to get to victory lane here in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series debut at this track. Here's his teammate actually passing me shortly thereafter. That's the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield, new leader again. We're seeing a lot of lead changes suddenly since Jimmy Johnson's lost it. How about Robbie Gordon out in front in that number 31, as we are as well aren't terribly far away from some green flag pit stops, but now some reporting in the pit lane.
Owen's been on the radio multiple times seeking clarification on if the incident was his fault.
I just want to know if, like, that was my fault. I mean, just be honest with me.
His crew chief responded, saying it was all on the 16th. The incident certainly has rattled the Canadian rookie tonight.
And you hear the pit road report there about myself in the contact with the 16 of Greg Biffle, crash behind. The 77 of Dave Blaney goes around off turn 4. Caution is going to fly, and when I thought everybody was going to come into the pits, I was wrong. Actually, we are going to have some drivers stay out now, as we've actually tightened up the car to 50.1. I was a little bit too free, I felt like. So we did have some drivers actually stay on the racetrack, as we will restart in the 26th position here, behind the 97 of Kurt Busch. The number 30, Jeff Green, has actually, he's one of the drivers that stayed out. So as we get back underway, we've got 48 laps to go into turn 1 now, and it's going to be a one-stop race from here. We can make it to the end on one more pit stop now, as we just got to get to within basically 27, 28 laps left or so, as we are now trying to get aggressive here on the outside, but it's just not working out for me now. I was hopeful we could make up a bunch of track position, but through goes Reigns to the inside. How about Todd Bodine in the 54 up there in the mid-20s as well? There's the 97 of Kurt Busch trying to go forward now. He's about to go 4 wide. He just moved Bodine out of the way. He makes it 4 wide. Tony Stewart and Dale Jarrett, the 2 cars on the outside. Now I'm going to come through to the outside here and put Tony Stewart in a bit of a vulnerable position now. Defending champ, it doesn't matter. I'm a rookie and I am here to play. We come through out of turn 4. It's right on the door of that Home Depot Chevrolet now, as Robbie Gordon in the 31 continues to lead now, as Kevin Harvick has actually gotten through into P2. So how about that? Kevin Harvick from starting at the back of the field up into the 2nd position. Can he maybe actually pull off a victory here tonight? That would be quite impressive now, as we are continuing to fight with Stewart here. I mean, it's just a bit of a logjam, because we've got these guys that didn't pit, and it includes not only the 30 of Jeff Green, I believe the 49 of Ken Schrader as well, did not come into the pits. You can tell by looking at the lack of speed. So those 2 were just kind of backing up the field and keeping things really condensed, and unfortunately that kind of hurts me, and when the field condensed here now, but we had gotten ourselves into P24, now passing Ken Schrader around the outside here on the exit of turn 4. We'll make that pass. Actually, he's going to hold his own against me here. He's still at my door with 42 laps to go, as now we've got the 18 of Bobby Labonte as well trying to go forward, but up into P23 briefly, and I mean, you know, the reality is we do expect, you know, kind of like 20th to like 26th, 27th place finishes for a lot of this season in this number 21. And that's just because of the lack of course, performance in this car. But there's going to be some tracks where I expect to run better. A few short tracks, super speedways, of course. I feel like Martinsville and Bristol are 2 short tracks where we can run a lot better, and as well I feel like my road course expertise is something that's going to shine. But obviously this era in NASCAR only saw 2 road races this season, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, so we only get 2 opportunities. Now going into the future, I think you'll also see custom schedules compared to real life. You're going to see more road course racing in the future as well. That's going to be exciting as well, to kind of see like a new maybe road course king emerge. And we know in this era we saw some drivers come over like Juan Pablo Montoya, Marcus Ambrose, that could also kind of have completely different careers play out just because of a larger sample size of road course racing. I'm really looking forward to that when the time comes, as well as we clear the 19 of Mayfield and continue running here in the mid-20s with a little over 30 laps to go. We clear the 43 now of John Andretti. Next up was Greg Biffle. Unfortunately, though, not really running him down. I'd kind of flatlined at this point here in P23, and it didn't really feel like I had much more in the car. We're still running good, but the caution's actually going to come out. So, and it's actually the 6 of Mark Martin with some engine issues. That's 2 back-to-back races where Martin's had some sort of issue, and that Viagra number 6. So everybody now should be coming into the pits. Jeff Green's a lap down now. No surprise there after, of course, not pitting at the last caution. But so now we're going to get ready for this restart where we start, you know, still midfield here, P23. We've got 37. Now we get 38 cars on the lead lap. We gain 2 positions in the pits and move ourselves up into the 21st position for this restart. Robbie Gordon in control as the green flag is back out. It's going to be 29 laps to go here from Iowa, which is going to be once again really interesting with the field situation now, as we are in position to pounce. Here we are, 3 wide up the inside of the National Guard 54, and as well on the outside there, that's the 42 of Jamie McMurray into turn number 3. Matt Kenseth as well actually has followed Robbie Gordon into P2, so Kenseth, who, well, we were told has been the dominant car this weekend, has barely led anything outside of like the opening lap, and here he is now finally back up in the mix at the right time, driving drivers that have kind of rebounded their days, the obvious. Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch driven back up there. Jeff Gordon, who had a really bad start to this race, he's driven back up into the top 5 or 6 or so. So Jeff Gordon's also right there in the conversation. Jimmy Johnson, he's been kind of in the mix all night long. Don't count him out. We saw Bill Elliott up there as well earlier. Ryan Newman, don't count those two drivers out either as we move up into a night high of P17. That's short-lived as the 43 passes me for the 18th position drop for myself now. And unfortunately, Casey Mears is going to come through, and then we kind of find ourselves in that same situation as earlier. We can get a good restart, but then we're kind of hanging on here on, kind of like lap 4 or 5 after a restart. We just kind of start going in the wrong direction. Tony Stewart's trying to pass me. It's just been a rough night for Tony Stewart. Not really what we expect from the 2002 NASCAR Cup Series, Winston Cup Series champion, that is. Dale Jarrett now passing me as well. Here comes the 6 of Mark Martin, who had his engine issues, but whatever it was not terminal because they got that car back on the track, kept him on the lead lap, and now Mark Martin's up to my left rear here, passing me into turn 3. Dale Jarrett jumps way up out of line, and that's going to allow Martin to kind of just cruise through. Mark Martin still seeking that elusive first NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. Could 2003 be the season? Keep in mind, with a full season format now, it's 36 races. There's no playoff, there's no chase. Moments right here, are going to determine your fate come the end of the season. Iowa in race 2 could be the difference between you winning a championship in race 36 or finishing second in the standings. You just never know. You could still make those kind of arguments for the playoffs as well. I know it's different, but you look at the playoff format of the current times, and the playoff points you might have missed out on early on in the regular season because you choked a win away. You might end up missing a Final Four by 4 points, where 5 playoff points you gave up from a win that you choked away would have gotten you into the championship 4. So it's still, at the end of the day, every race still matters, no matter what the format is, to an extent. But we continue fighting forward here, running about 22nd, leaning on the left rear of that UPS Ford of Dale Jarrett. We'll pass him into turn 1, so we're kind of rallying our way back forward in these closing laps, and it's starting to kind of go green here. And as it's done that, how about the number 9 of Bill Elliott that's taken the lead here into turn number 3? Is it Bill Elliott's day with that 9 team, while his teammate of Jeremy Mayfield runs down in P21, about to take 20th from myself? It could be Bill Elliott's day. 12 laps to go, and there goes through the 19. We're right on his door there on the exit of turn 2. Now he's clear on the exit. Now as we head down this back straightaway through goes the 22 as well of Ward Burton. We drop back down to the 22nd position at this point, and we'll just kind of settle in here back to this inside line. Dave Blaney as well, just behind, trying to mount some pressure now, and he's successful in doing that, unfortunately. Now as we're kind of in that kind of moment of sinking down the order once again, and I'm kind of hoping for a caution here before this race is over. Maybe get some fresh Goodyear rubber on the car, because through goes Biffle. Jarrett's going to come back at us. The 18 of Bobby Labonte not having a great day here in Iowa. He's going to pass me as well, and it's going to bring us down to P26 on the exit of turn 4. And we still are not done losing out. Here comes the 23 of Kenny Wallace. He's going to pass us. We drop down to P27. We should be able to hang on to 27th. Jack Sprague, though, behind me is closing in, so we might even drop to 28th. And this is something we're going to have to pay attention to. Our long run speed's just not there. 5 laps of field with 5 laps to go cuts things super close. We knew it was going to be close on feel, but no one is showing any signs of pitting, so everyone, it looks like, can make it to the end just barely. And right now, Bill Elliott, I think, is going to pull this off as Jack Sprague ends up passing me. He made things really difficult on me right there. We dropped down to P28, coming to just, well, it's going to be 2 to go at the line right here for Bill Elliott. We got just enough fuel to make it, and Bill Elliott with 2 laps to go, he is completely in control of this race now as we are fighting with Sprague for the final few laps. Bill Elliott shouldn't get to me to put me a lap down, so we should have 2 more full laps ourselves of racing still here with this 0 crash into turn 1. Kurt Busch goes around, caution is out, and with this newly implemented overtime format in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, we are going to put it to the test in the first 2 races of the season, as everybody's going to pit, including myself. We're going to throw the wedge way down. I'm going to take 4 tires. I might give up a few positions, but we're already down in 28th. What else do we have to lose is really kind of the mentality I was taking going into this restart. So Bill Elliott leads on the front row with Robbie Gordon and Hendrick Motorsports of Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon just behind. Here we go then. Overtime underway. Winston Cup overtime kicks off from Iowa in its debut of the first time this series visits the track. We give up 2 positions by taking 4 tires, and immediately look at us ripping in turn 1 and 2 up to 23rd, maybe even 22nd, 21st by the time we head down into turn 3. Up front, Kevin Harvick's into 3rd position, and now 2nd. Harvick's coming through. Kenseth is pitting. Matt Kenseth is in. Is there an issue on the 17? Dale Jr.'s in as well. White flag is in the air, and Kevin Harvick's up the inside of Bill Elliott, and now Kevin Harvick from last to first on the final lap. He takes the lead out of turn 2. What a turn of events. Dale Jr. Kenseth have to pit on the final lap. Not sure what that's about, but as we enter turn 3 and 4 for the final time, off of turn 4, Kevin Harvick from 5th to 1st in overtime steals it over Elliott in Iowa. What a win for Kevin Harvick and the Goodwrench 29 team. Unbelievable. And we come home in P20. What a race. What a finish. And Bill Elliott comes up just short, and Kevin Harvick finds victory lane. A lot of Hendrick Motorsports there in the top 7 of Labonte, Johnson, and Gordon. McMurray up there in the top 10. Great to see rookies finishing that high up. Biffle, myself, their Mears kind of, in the very end of the teens, into the low 20s there, as Kenseth and Jr. end up 30th and 31st. And wow, what a fumble from those 2 teams. Not sure exactly what went on there because they pitted, so I don't know what in the world caused that. But we are P17 in the standings. Bill Elliott does take the championship lead at 69 points over Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart still P5 after a rough night, and you see Harvick up to P9 in the standings. Casey Mears, rookie, in P10 as well. But we have a bit of work to do in P17 going into race number 3, where you guys, I'll be giving you guys an update on all the members of where they are placed at in the lore. So that's going to be really exciting. Stay on the lookout for that in the next episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.